The key to success in the IELTS speaking section is to know exactly what the examiner requires from you. And what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to share the 4 criteria, exactly what they are, and how you can meet these requirements. The 4 criteria for the speaking section are fluency and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. So let's talk about each of these in detail. The first is fluency and cohesion. And the Band 7 descriptor tells us that you need to have the ability to speak with no noticeable effort, with few mistakes and corrections, and a good flow of ideas. And if you can do this, you can get a Band 7. So what does this mean and how can you do it? First of all, it's important to realize that you and your life is the subject of the IELTS speaking section. So you'll be sharing throughout the speaking section, you'll be sharing your ideas, your thoughts, and your feelings. And this is good news because there are no right or wrong ideas. There are no right or wrong thoughts. There are no right or wrong feelings or opinions. What's being measured is not your ideas, thoughts, and feelings, the content. What's being measured is your ability to simply express these in English. And if there's one place that you should feel the most comfortable sharing in English, it's about the thing that's most familiar to you, your life, and your experiences. So make sure that that's where you speak from. You don't want to have memorized answers, or they're not your ideas and your thoughts and feelings. You don't want to try and use vocabulary that is not a part of your everyday life. And you want to stay in the zone where you're confident and most comfortable. Let me just say quickly what fluency is. You know, fluency is not just the ability to speak quickly, nor is it the ability to speak perfectly. Fluency is the ability to share your ideas without a lot of effort, quite naturally and comfortably, using your own words and from your own experiences, and using the right pace, which means that you can pause in between sentences. You can take your time when you want to express an important point, and you can speak fluently. And this is the key throughout the IELTS speaking test for a good score in fluency and cohesion. The next item is lexical resource, and really this is your vocabulary. It's your word choice. What words will you choose to use as you express your ideas and thoughts and feelings? And you'll be asked to discuss a variety of topics. But I can assure you that none of these are academic or topics that you have to have any prior knowledge of. These are topics that are a part of your everyday life and experience. And what's most important is that you choose useful and appropriate words, not fancy or academic words, but words that you can use to express yourself most clearly. So you want to make sure that you have the right word with the right meaning and the right reason. And let me just give you a little warning here about trying to memorize new vocabulary, academic terms, or fancy words that you think might impress the examiner. These words might be impressive, but you don't want to use the right word for the wrong reason. You don't want to use the right word when it doesn't have the meaning that you intend. So you need to stay within your own range of vocabulary where you're confident that the words you're using are expressing what you mean and expressing clearly so that the examiner will understand your thoughts, your ideas, and your feelings. So the right word with the right meaning for the right reason is what's most important. And if you use a very fancy word and it doesn't have the right meaning or the right reason, this is the quickest way to lose marks in the speaking section. And let's go on to the next one, which is grammatical range and accuracy. And again, the descriptor for a Band 7 says that you'll have the ability to use a range of structures and tenses and have frequent error-free sentences. So let's just take a look at each of these and how you can accomplish this and have success with your grammar, range, and accuracy. First of all, you'll want to use different sentence structures, and you'll want to expand and build on these. For example, you can use simple sentences. They're very effective, but you can't only use simple sentences. So you'll want to know how to join two sentences together and have a compound sentence. Or you'll want to put a little phrase in front of one of your simple sentences or compound sentences, and suddenly you have a complex or complex compound sentence. And you'll be able to, you'll also want to be able to use things like conditional sentences, where you would describe what would you do in a hypothetical situation using if and when and will. So just expand, use a variety of different sentences. You'll also want to use a variety of different verb tenses. For example, I could use simple past and say, I moved to Ottawa 2 years ago. But if I don't want to repeat another simple past sentence, I could say something like, I've been living in Ottawa for 2 years. I've said the same thing, but this time I've used present perfect continuous. The key with grammar, again, is to be confident with the forms and tenses that you're using, but maybe take a little bit of a risk and try to extend and expand your ability to use grammar. Remember, the most important thing that we looked at was frequent error-free sentences. So you'll want to have more correct sentences than incorrect. If you have one or two that are incorrect, you won't lose a lot of marks, and it may be worth the risk to step out of your confidence zone just a little to try something new, and that will help you increase your score and be more effective in the speaking section. And finally, pronunciation. And I think this is one of the biggest worries when it comes to the speaking section. A lot of you may worry if your pronunciation is too, or your accent is too strong and you're not pronouncing words correctly. The main thing with pronunciation is that you can simply be understood. Can the examiner understand what you're saying? So you'll want to speak clear enough just to simply be understood. And for a Band 7, it just means that your accent has minimal effect. It doesn't mean you don't have an accent. It's just that your accent doesn't get in the way of being clearly understood. And here are my 3 best tips for pronunciation. And really, they have nothing to do with the noise that's actually coming out of your mouth, the sound that's coming out when you're speaking. They have to do with having the right attitude and right mindset and the right physical approach to clearly communicating. One of the best ways to make sure that you're communicating clearly is making eye contact with the examiner. Don't avoid eye contact, and don't let your body language suggest that you're not interested in sharing your ideas. So lean forward a little bit. Don't slouch back. And the most important thing is to smile, because smile does a couple of things. First of all, it helps to calm you down and feel more relaxed. And this also happens when you're doing eye contact and having the right body language. It all leads to feeling less nervous and more relaxed. But smiling is one of the ways that you can get rid of this nervous feeling that doing the speaking section may bring about. Just smile and realize that You're having a conversation with an examiner who has your best interests at heart, and you can feel more relaxed. But smiling does something else, and this is a little more technical. Smiling relaxes your mouth. It relaxes your jaw muscles. It relaxes your face. And this in itself will help you to pronounce more clearly and effectively. I hope you found these tips helpful. Don't hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out the link for another video on the speaking section that I'm sure you'll find helpful.